So I want to go over graphing polynomials in ALEKS. So I just want to make sure I'm sharing my screen with you. Okay, so we want to graph the following function. First, make sure you find zeros of the function. And to find the zeros, you set this equation equal to 0, or you watch my video how to find the zeros. Basically, you set x plus 5 equal to 0, x plus 2 equal to 0, and x minus 4 equal to 0, and you solve for x. And the shortcut would be opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. So you have a positive 5 here. Opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. So negative 5 comma 0 is one of your points. And then opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 comma 0 is another point. And opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. So 4 comma 0 is another point. But in order for you to graph this, it asks you to pick 4 points. So I already have 3 points. I have negative 5 comma 0, negative 2 comma 0, 4 comma 0. The other point you can pick, for instance, let x equal to 0 or something else. I'm going to let x equal to 0 to find my y-intercept. So if I put 0 here for x, I get 0 plus 5 is 5, 0 plus 2 is 2, 0 minus 4 is negative 4, 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times negative 4 is negative 40. So I get negative 40 over 7. So it asks you for the end behavior. The graph is a cubic function, so it's going to start from the bottom. And it's going to be left is going to go up. And then it's going to ask you find your y-intercept. Instead is 0 comma was 40, negative 40 over 7. Then it's going to ask you to find your zeros. So you're going to just say they are the 3 numbers we found, negative 5, negative 2, and 4. Now we want to graph it. To graph it, you're going to put your x-intercepts, which were negative 5, 0, and then plot. Then you're going to put negative 2 and 0 and then plot. You're going to put 4 comma 0, plot, and at last 0 and negative 40 over 7. That's your y-intercept. Plot and then close, and then you just go click on the graph of function, and then the graph is going to appear for you. Check, and that is how you graph this one. So let's do one more. Go to number 10. This function is not factored. First, you have to factor this. The greatest common factor here is x to the power 2. And when you factor that, you get x to the power 2 minus x minus 6. And then you factor it again. You get negative 3x, negative 3x plus 2. Those are your factors. So your zeros will be 0, positive 3, and negative 2. So because it's a degree of 4, that is positive. The end behavior of the function is up to the left and up to the right. The stars from the top ends on the top. Then the y-intercept is 0, 0. and the x-intercepts is, or the zeros are 0, -2, oops, 0, -2, and +3. And then we want to graph it. It was 5 points, but I only have 3 points. So one of the points is going to be 0, 0. 1 point is going to be -2, comma 0. And another point is +3, comma 0. So those are my points. I need 2 more. So you can substitute 1 for x here. So you get 1 to the power 4 minus 1 to the power 3 minus 6 times 1 to the power 2. So you get 1 minus 1 minus 6, which is -6. So 1 comma -6 is another point. And then you need a fifth point. For fifth point, substitute -1 for your x's. So -1 to the power 4, that's 1. Then you have to subtract -1 to the power 3, and that is -1. -1 to the power 3 is -1, but then negative behind it makes it +1. And then you have -1 to the power 2 is 1 times -6. That becomes a subtraction. So you have 1 and 1 is 2. 2 minus 6 is -4. So when x is -1, y is -4. So we have our 4 points. Let's put them in. One of the point is -2, -2. That was our x-intercept, which was 0. So that's you plot it, and then you plot the next point. The next point is you can put your other x-intercepts, 3, comma 0, 0, oops, plot, and then you have 0, comma 0. So those are your 3 points, and then you are going to put another point was 1, comma -6. Oops. And another point, let's get rid of this. Okay, another point is -1 gave us -4. And then I'm going to close this and click on the graph. And here is your graph. So you just have to read the prompt. It asks for 5 points. These are 3 points. Your y-intercept is the same here, 0, 0, and you have an x-intercept 0, 0. So you only have 3 points because this one is y-intercept and x-intercept. So then you have to pick 2 more points. Substitute 1 for x, do the arithmetic. We got -6, then substitute -1 for x. We got -4, and those are my 2 other points. Let's see what is the next one. We want to graph this one. So this one is already factored for us. The degree of the first parenthesis is 2. The degree of the other one is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. The coefficient is positive, so we have a positive x to the power 5. The end behavior is going to be starts from the graph, starts from the bottom, ends on the top. And the way they say it here is, it says down to the left, up to the right, because it's x to the 5th. Find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is, we substitute 0 for x. So if I put 0 here, I get 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. If I put a 0 here, 0 minus 3 is -3. -3 to the power 3 is going to be -27. -3 times -3 times -3 is -27. negative 27, and then we have a 4 here. So we have to multiply 4 by negative 27, and then we have to multiply it by 0.2. Why don't I multiply 0.2 by 4? That gives me 0.8. And then I multiply 0.8 by negative 27. So 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 2 is 16, and 5 is 21. Negative 21, 216, but we have one decimal point. So it's negative 21.6. So our y-intercept is, when x is 0, y is negative 21.6. Because we have 0.2 times 4. I just want to make sure I didn't make any mistake. That's 0.8. And then negative 3 to the power 3 is negative 27. So we get 21.6, negative 21.6, check. Then it says find the real zeros. The zeros are negative 2, opposite of positive 2 is negative 2, opposite of negative 3 is positive 3, so it's negative 2 and positive 3. And we want to graph it. This is at least 6 points. If it's looking for 6 points, we have 3 of the 6. We have the x-intercept, negative 2, 0, 3, 0, and the y-intercept. So we need 3 more points. So the other points, we are just going to pick something for x and evaluate the function. So if I put 1.2, I put 1 plus 2 is going to be 3 to the power 2. And 1 take away 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 to the power 3 is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is negative 8. So we have negative 8, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 squared is 9. And then we have 9 times 0.2. 9 times, or 9 times 8 is 72, negative 72. And then we multiply it by 0.2. So when I do that, I get 4, 7 times 2 is 14. So we get negative 14.4. So that's another point. We need, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 2 more points. Let x to be 1, the negative 1. If I put negative 1 plus 2, I get 1. 1 squared is 1. Negative 1, negative 3 is negative 4. Negative 4 to the power 3 is negative 64. Then we want to multiply negative 64 by 0.2. So that is negative 12.8. So that's the one more point. We are picking 2 for x. So if I pick 2 for x, 2 and 2 is 4. 4 to the power 2 is 16. 16 times 0.2 is 3.2. And then we multiply, if I put 2 here, 2 take away 3 is negative 1. Negative 1 to the power 3 is negative 1. So we get negative 3.2. So you need to pick 3 points. 3 more points. We have 1 point here, 2 more points here. We need 3 more points. So substitute 1 for x, do the arithmetic. Substitute negative 1 for x, do the arithmetic. And then I pick 2 for x. You just pick a small numbers. So I picked negative 1, positive 1, and 2 substituted here, and then did arithmetic. So hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. I'm gonna plot the points. The points are -2, 0, plot, 3, 0, plot, 0, -21.6, plot. Those are 3 points. We need 2 more, 3 more. X is 2, Y is -3.2. And then I picked 1. And when I picked 1, I got 1 plus 2 is 3. Yeah, that's the one. When I got 1, I got -14.4. And then I picked this one. I picked -1. And I have -12.8. Right? -1 gives me 1 here, -4 to the power 3 is 64, and 64 times 0.2 is, yeah. So hopefully I didn't make any arithmetic errors. Those are my 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You click on the graph, and here it is. So what I recommend for you to do is the functions I have done, do them by hand, and try to find the points on a piece of paper, and then practice a couple of these problems. The last one, we want to graph this. So first we have to know the behavior of the graph. We have a negative coefficient. Let's find the degree as well. The degree of x minus 1 parentheses is 1. The degree of x plus 3 is 1. The degree for x minus 4 is 2, so 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. We have a negative x to the power 4. So the graph starts from the bottom, ends on the bottom. So the behavior of the function is down to the left and down to the right, bottom and bottom. Then we want to find our x-intercept, y-intercept. We are going to substitute 0 here, here, and here. So 0 in the first parenthesis gives us -1. 0 for the second parenthesis gives us 3. 3 times -1 is -3. I put 0 here. 0 minus 4 is -4. -4 to the power 2 is 16. So I get 16 times -3, which is -48. But -48 times -1/10, that is going to be negative times negative is positive 48 over 10, and 48 over 10 is 4.8. 4.8. So when x is 0, y is 4.8. Next, we are going to find our zeros. The zeros are 1, -3, and 4. 1, -3, and 4. Next, it says which one is the correct graph. So because the graph starts from the bottom, ends on the bottom, that's a possibility. B is not possible because the graph starts on the top and ends on the top. This one is not possible because both ends are on the top. So either is this one, which is this. Oh, so many of them. So let me shrink my. Okay. So A is a possibility. C is a possibility and F is a possibility. But then we have to decide which one of the three is correct. Is it this one, or this one? So we look at the x-intercepts next. This one has the x-intercepts are 1, -3, and +4. So these are x-intercepts are -3, 1, and +4. And this one also has the same, and this one is not it, because you see the x-intercept is at -1, so that's not possible. So now we are down to these two, -3, x-intercept -3, 1 and 4, and 1 and 4. Then we also have this thing here. The graph should touch the x-axis at +4 because of this 2 exponent. The graph touches the x-axis for this one and crosses these two. So let's see which one is possible. So this one seems like to be touching. This one seems to be touching. Yeah, so both of them seem to be touching the x-axis here. So then that's not helpful to us because we have two graphs that both are touching. The next thing I would do is I'm going to evaluate the function at -1 to see what I will get. So I'm going to substitute -1 here and see what we get. So we have -1/10. I put -1 for x, -1, -1 is -2, times, I put -1 here, -1 plus 3 is going to be +2. I put a -1 here, -1, -4 is -5 to the power 2. -5 to the power 2 is 25. Then I had a 2 here and a -2 here. 2 times -2 is -4. -4 times 25 is going to give us -100. -100 times a negative is going to be positive. 100 over 10. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So let's see which one of these, when x is -1, gives us y +10. This is the one. When x is -1, y is +10. So these two graphs both had the same x-intercepts, -3, 1. Both were touching 4. So does this one. But then, in order for me to find the correct graph, I had to evaluate the function at -1 and see which one is going to give me +10. So this is the correct graph. C. So that's the end.